All right, everyone. Here is the video lesson that I promised. Sorry, it's a little bit late. This is section 1.3, and I'm actually going to go out of order, okay? I uploaded the blank version as well. But yeah, if you want to take a look at that or just watch this video, okay? So I'm going to solve this algebraically, and this one I'm just going to kind of breeze through. The only thing I want to remind you of here is out here, you got to remember to distribute a -1, right? So this is really 5 minus 2x plus 1 is equal to 10 minus x, okay? And after some time, you should get, after some work, right, you should get x equals -4. Okay, if you want to pause it here and try it on your own, please feel free to do that. Okay, so for this next question, we're working with rationals, right? And so whenever you want to try to get rid of a fraction, you want to multiply the entire equation by the common denominator. So in this case, what's nice is they're both y. Okay, so I started that process for you already, multiplying by y on both sides. Okay, remember what you do to one side of the equation, you have to do to the other side. And so when you multiply by y, one thing I'm going to clarify here is you multiply to the entire thing, so you distribute, right? And so when you do that, these y's are going to cancel out. So you have 5 plus 4 is equal to 3y, right? And 5 plus 4 is 9. And when you divide by 3, you get y is equal to 3, okay? This next question is going to be a little bit longer here, right? So the common denominator here are all of these three different factors multiplied together, right? And so I'm going to multiply the entire equation, or both the left and the right, by 5 times x plus 2 times x minus 1, right? So all of that, okay? So when I distribute this to everything, right? So when I multiply this to this first fraction, the x plus 2's are going to cancel out, right? So then you're left with 2 times 5, which is 10. And then we still have a factor of x minus 1 left over, right? No more denominator because they canceled out, right? Plus, now over here, when you distribute to this fraction, we have x minus 1, and this would cancel out with this one, right? And then we have 3 times 5, which is 15, and then x plus 2. And then over here, the 5's would cancel out, right? So we have -8 times x plus 2 times x minus 1, okay? So now you have to distribute everything. Right here, we have to double distribute and FOIL, and then after that, you have to distribute the -8, and then we got to solve from there. Okay, so this is what I have so far after distributing, all right? Here, when I combine like terms, this is going to be 25x plus 20 is equal to -8x squared minus 8x plus 16, right? And since this is a quadratic, I'm going to subtract everything over 25x and the 20 to the other side, okay? So then I have 0 is equal to, there's no other x squared term. This is going to be minus 33x and minus 4, okay? At this point, so this is as far as we can go for now. And here we're going to put this into the calculator, and when you watch the rest of this video, you're going to see how to do that on your calculator. All right, if you already know how to do it, then great. But wait a little bit for the next portion, or in a little bit, okay? Okay, so in this cubic standard equation, right, sometimes we can use factor by grouping, right? And so I'm going to take the first two terms and the last two terms and factor. And what's nice is, right, this is in descending order. It's a cubed, and then a squared, and then to the first power, and then a constant, okay? So this first one, this first set, I'm going to take out a factor of x squared, and that's going to be x plus 2, right? And over here, for the second one, I'm going to take out a negative 9, and that's going to be x plus 2, and that's going to equal 0, okay? Now, if you notice, these are the same, so that's good, all right? So that means that's one of the factors, x plus 2, and then the outer ones are a factor, x squared minus 9. Okay, so then we try to factor as much as possible, right? Here, this is a difference of squares. Okay, so this is x plus 2, x plus 3, x minus 3 equals 0. And since we factored it all the way down, we're going to solve each of those equal to 0, or set those equal to 0, and then solve, right? So x is equal to negative 2, negative 3, and positive 3 for this one. Okay, you can leave it like this. If you want to, if you remember from maybe Algebra 2 and Algebra 1, if we talk about sets, right? Your solutions are from least to greatest, negative 3, negative 2, and 3. Okay. Okay, so going backwards in the notes, all right, method 2 is using a graphing calculator, okay? So when you have an equation like number 1, right, you can treat the two separate sides like its own separate equation that you can graph. And then so since we're setting them equal to each other, then we can think of it as a system where we're trying to figure out the point of intersection, all right? And so here for number 1, first of all, this is a quadratic, right? Meaning it's a degree 2, so there might be 2 solutions, okay? The left side, I'm going to put into the calculator as y1, and the right side, I'm going to put as y2. And then I'm going to show you on the calculator how to figure out the intersection, all right? I think I briefly did this in another example last week, and maybe you already know how, but this is, you know, maybe a reminder for you then, okay? Okay, so here is my graphing calculator. Hopefully you can see this okay. And when you put in these equations, right, you're going to hit graph, and it comes up like this, right? It looks like maybe this is the intersection right here. And so sometimes it's a little hard to tell, okay? And if we know that this is a parabola and this line will keep going, right, it's going to intersect up here, right? So let's try to see a better picture, okay? Okay, so we want to see a better picture, right? Because we know that eventually this red line is going to intersect the blue parabola up way up there maybe, right? And so I'm going to change my window, and my Y max I'm going to change to maybe 75. And since that's a lot, I'm going to scale it. I'm going to make each Y value go up by 5, right? And so when I graph it, that's going to give me that. Now there's going to be 2 points of intersection, so we have 2 solutions. So I'm going to go to second and then trace, and then I'm going to choose option 5. You can either scroll down there or hit 5. Okay. So when I do that, I get this first curve, and it looks like the first curve is on the parabola. You know, that's fine. You can hit it anywhere. Hit enter. And then the second curve will go to the line, all right? And then that's fine too. You just hit enter. It'll ask you to guess. You hit enter, and there's the intersection, right? Negative 0.4 and 0.8, okay? So then how do we get this one up here, right? So I'm going to do that again, second calc, and I'm going to choose option 5 again. Now this time though, you gotta press the left and right arrows, and you gotta move that cursor, right, to this general area of the intersection. So the first curve, yes, I'm gonna press enter here, the parabola, and then the second curve will be the line, and then guess, just press enter, and then there's the other intersection, 345, right? So I have 2 intersecting points, right? It was negative 0.4 and 0.8. And my other intersecting point is 3, 45. But since we're solving this equation, I only want the solutions for the x values. So x is going to equal negative 0.4 and 3. Okay, so you're going to do the same if you want to try for number 2 on your own, right? y1 is equal to negative x to the 4th plus 1. y2 is equal to 2x squared minus 3. Okay, for this one, when you do it on the calculator, your two x values are going to be at negative 1.11 and positive 1.11. Now, if you want to pause it here and try it on your own, please go ahead and do that. Okay, so now going back to the very beginning of the lesson, all right? We're going to go over the zero feature on the calculator, meaning when you're solving it, okay? And so, you know, why does the calculator use the term zero, all right? Because that's where the x-intercepts are, right? And the zeros are describing the y values, okay? So basically, at what x value is the y value 0, okay? So here for number 1, I'm just gonna graph this, right? And this is what it looks like, okay? There are 3 solutions, and it's a cubic, right? So there should be 3 solutions, okay? Now one of them, it looks like maybe it's 0, but I think it's a little past that, okay? And so we're gonna do second calc, and then we're gonna choose option 2 this time. There's no intersection, right? We're not looking at 2 separate functions. It's just one function and equation. So I'm gonna choose 0, right? And it'll take you back to the graph. Now, you have to do this 3 times because there are 3 x-intercepts, right? So I'm gonna start with this one right here. Okay, so left bound means you're gonna bring this cursor, you're gonna press the left arrow until it's to the left of this x-intercept, anywhere to the left of it, right? So I'm gonna hit enter. It'll ask for right bound, so now you have to move the cursor anywhere to the right of that x-intercept. You're gonna hit enter, and then guess, you just hit enter, and then there it is. All right, when you round that, or yeah, we're gonna use negative 2.89. Okay, so that's one of the solutions. Now you have to do it again for this one and this one, right? So I'm gonna do second calc. I'm gonna choose option 2, left bound, just somewhere to the left of this x-intercept. This is fine where it is. I'm gonna hit enter. Then right bound, I'm gonna move it to the right of that x-intercept. I'm gonna hit enter, and I'm gonna ask for it to guess, and it's at 0.13. Okay, and lastly, I'm gonna do it again. Second calc, option 2, left bound of this x-intercept here. I'm just gonna bring it over a little bit closer. All right, press enter, and then right bound anywhere to the right of that x-intercept. Hit enter for guess, and then 2.76. Okay, so those are where the solutions are. Okay, and then lastly for number 2, this one, if you swing these over and set it equal to 0, this actually factors, right? You end up with x squared minus, or I'm sorry, you get x minus 9 and x plus 2. Okay, and you get x is equal to 9 or x is equal to negative 2. Now you can leave it like that, right? If you want to put it in set notation, you can say x such that x is equal to 9 or negative 2, and then close it. You can, if you don't want to do the x such that, right, you can leave it in braces as negative 2 comma 9, right? But what you should not be doing is putting them to make it look like coordinate points. Don't do that, okay? All right, that's it. If you have any questions, please email me.